So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the project charter template that I created here for students doing projects here at the college. But before I walk through it, I just want to kind of give you a little bit of background about what a project charter is for. And a project charter is really a kind of an agreement between the project team and the client to indicate what's going to be done and the constraints that you're working under. And you document this agreement so that if there's changes to it later on, you can go back and kind of renegotiate the parameters of the project. The project charter is also used for organizations that have a steering committee to determine which projects will be funded or which projects will be supported in the organization. And each project then creates this project charter where the project charters are then evaluated and those that are going to move forward are selected, but they're all selected based off the information that's in this standard project charter. So it's a little bit of a background on the project charter. Now, using the template, I try to create a very simple project charter template. I think some organizations or many organizations would have a more complex project charter. This one hits most of the needs. So to begin with, we enter the project name up here, and then the date that this was created. We enter the client name. So if this is an external client or maybe it's an internal department within your organization, that can be placed there. Come up with a name for the project and then a description about what the project's about. Explain the purpose of the project. Next is the goals. You're going to have at least one goal, and this is the business goal. So in our case, for the data analytics projects or data-centric projects, the goal is not to produce some type of report or anything like that. It's the business purpose. So we're producing this report to increase retention, to reduce expenses, to increase market share. Those would be some examples of business goals. And when we define a business goal, we're also going to try to quantify that business goal to reduce retention by 25%, increase revenue by 37%, reduce expenses by 58%, so forth. That way we have some type of quantitative measure to determine if the project was successful. And that also helps make a business case for the project itself to show its importance to the organization. Next is the project deliverables. So here we identify what we're going to be producing as a result of this project. And then finally here is the scope statement. You identify what is going to be the scope of this project. It's very important to define what's in scope and to then imply what is not in scope. So again, if changes happen while the project takes place, you'll have already defined what you had committed to do. And this way, if there's any other changes, you can kind of renegotiate your project variables again. In some cases, you will have a budget. So if there's services or software or other products that you need to include in this project, that's where you'd put your budget there. And then the target date. So this is the implementation target date of when you are shooting for or when you're committing to have the project completed. Next, I'm going to move down to the project team. First, identifying the project champion. So this is not the person that you're committing this project to, but rather that person's supervisor or somebody higher up in the organization that is going to be well connected to the business goals. So they should be the person that really is concerned about those business goals. And it's usually somebody higher in the organization that can help you remove hurdles if you run into some problems. Now, the sponsor, that's going to be the owner of the project. That's who you're doing the project for. They will make a lot of the decisions about some of the functionality or some of the business rules. And then next, I've got two rows here, but could be more. These are going to be the people that are going to participate in the project. You could have the data analyst, the person that's going to be conducting the analysis. You could have somebody from the IT organization that's going to be pulling the data for you. You could have some of the users to help you understand and evaluate the results, that type of thing. So you're going to want to include all the people that are going to be participating in the project. And then over here is where you would enter the full-time equivalency for each of these people. So if you're completely dedicated to the project or a certain percentage of your time is dedicated to the project, you're going to want to identify that right here. All right, and the next three values are to help the organization evaluate this project in terms of its priority. So first is the project value. So you put a dollar amount as well as a description explaining how you arrived at that dollar amount. So this project value, so it's going to indicate the value of this project to the organization. So this could be, as a result of this project, we would expect to see, it's a $125,000 increase in revenue on an annual basis. Or we could say that every year we expect to reduce our expenses by $57,000, so forth. So those would be some examples of project value, the financial reward of completing this project. And that would be important to the organization so they can so that they can look at different projects and see which project is going to be delivering more value. Now, in addition to the value, we need to look at project alignment. So this is going to determine how well this project aligns with the organization's strategies. So the organization's trying to get somewhere, and does this directly support that, indirectly support it, or is it just like an operational project that really does not contribute to the alignment? So that's how you're going to evaluate your project there. And then finally, the project category to indicate, is it high value? So this would, again, you look at the value of this. Is it high value and low risk? So identifying the risk here is to indicate what's the likelihood that you'll be successful in completing this project and delivering the value that you are anticipating being able to deliver. A low risk project means that we're pretty certain that we're going to be able to deliver the project and realize that value. And so we're looking at a high value, low risk. That's the ideal project. High value, high risk. Those are good projects to look at, but you can only take on, an organization's only going to take on so many of the projects like that. Low value, low risk. That's not ideal, but sometimes necessary. Low value, high risk. Those are the projects that the organization's going to want to avoid. So, but still we want to categorize our project to help the organization evaluate the project. And then finally, we just have the person that is presenting this project charter to some group that's evaluating them. And then the group can then, or the person can then sign it here by the approved by. So it's a very simple project charter, but it provides a simple look at what the project looks like, and it helps to both define the project as well as provide the factors that an organization is going to consider to determine if the project will be supported or will be funded.